Good morning, everybody. What is my? I need to get a new camera. Send in those super chats. I'm saving up for a new camera. Better. It just looks grainy to me. Ew. Grainy. Uh-oh. One second. What did I just do? Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Welcome Saturday morning. Can you believe yesterday we had a 5-hour X space? I was tired afterwards. That was Everybody was pretty well behaved. Thought that was cool. Um, don't forget, if you're interested in um, the pre-recorded 16-week philosophy courses, they're on Patristic Faith shop that's connected to my Shopify. Um, those are the cheaper ones that you can get and that aren't as involved as the full actual course of grading, quizzes, educational software, office hours, etc. Um, people like those, so you can get those. Don't forget. Don't forget. Let me see. Should I put it up in the? Don't forget about our Athens and Jerusalem conference in Palm Coast, Florida. It's St. Nicholas Orthodox Church. I imagine it's going to sell out real soon, so that is here. I'll put that in. There, and then let me do the course. One second, let me do. Why is this not working? Open a new link. Let's see what happens if I do that. It's not working. Oh, all right. Let's do shop. It's weird. Shop. It's usually my computer. Like something happens. See if you go on to Patristic Faith and see if the shop works for you. I can't. I'm clicking on the button and it won't work. Let me see on my phone. Patristic Faith. If that's down, I gotta go in and fix it. That's why I need to. What are you guys saying? Patristic Faith. Let's see here. Yeah, it's something with my computer then. Yeah. Could you throw that into the lasagna? Throw that into the link for the shop in the chat if you don't mind. Because it's not working for me. Appreciate that. Other announcements. Well, I'm excited about writing this paper. Excited about being at the cathedral St. Stephen's Cathedral next weekend for the Diocesan Days and the liturgy with His Grace Bishop Maxim and all our brother priests. Those of you in Southern California, hopefully you can attend the liturgy and the Vespers, or both and, or one at least. That is good. What else am I missing? Feeling the Wolf, 2 pounds. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody who joined in prayers. That's really edifying to pray together. Who's this Mormon person on X? Thoughtful Faith. Tried to start a debate Tim Pool, but refuses to debate Jim Bob. Jim Bob's been going after the Mormons. Who is this? Oh, jeez. Protestants. Right. Just looking for some stuff to... Here, I was talking with a friend yesterday about this stuff makes me really... I'm still upset. Well, if you present at a conference, you have to have a paper. That's what it is. But look at this. This man here says I was threatened with arrest by my parish priest if I did not mask my children during the height of the pandemic. He took it as a blessing to go elsewhere. My wife lost her job. By the way, no apologies. None of these priests have been held accountable. It's just, let's just pretend that it never exists. I mean, there's a memory hole on this. I would love to know who this and have this priest, whoever that priest was, reported. I mean, I still can't believe they did that. Turn to the devil. Can you imagine that? Threatening to have you arrested because you believed in a diabolical scam. And who's this guy? Why did your wife refuse? It was a fake, that's why. Orthodox professors, the question is not why they refuse, but why anyone comply. A priest or mildly infected person wearing a face mask for hours. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to talk about the health damages that did. Can you believe being in the end of 2025, even on the normie mainstream media, even Fauci said masks don't work, and you have a guy like this. What in the heck, dude? Let's just look at Would you believe? Would you believe somebody? Would you listen to somebody that looks like that? Can you believe people like this vote? Yeah. Thank you, Luigi. What a demon. Yeah, absolutely. All the stuff, rumors about, and by the way, um, they'll lie and make up falsehood or believe falsehoods about the Spanish flu. All these things. No, that person's not gonna read. Yeah, demon. It's demonic. Yeah, exactly. When are these people going to be held accountable for? I mean, they gaslit us saying, "Oh, conspiracy theorists, fake news." They got people fired from their jobs, kicked out of churches, and they're still going. And I think these people should be held legally accountable for. It's really upsetting. No apologies, nothing, and they just double down. Lord have mercy. So there's that. There's that. Wow, Bill Hicks, awesome. Couple, I know a couple more are upset that our friend Provo is converting to Ortho. Yeah. Oh, they get real nasty. They're really good at putting out like their image, their brand, like nice, clean cut, conservative, family values, until they're not. The facade comes off. Like, start converting some of the more Mormons a watch or criticizing their religion, critiquing it, and watch what happens. I mean, the demons come out. Yes, my catechol lectures are on a playlist. They're also included in Antiochian House of Study. There's a recommendation within their program as well to. They don't just serve as catechetical lectures for catechumens and inquires, but also continuing education as well. What else do we have going on? Questions? Yeah, I can't even remember War and Peace. I read it in undergraduate. I was an undergraduate from back in 1999, 2003. So that was a long time ago. So I don't, and it was a, but yeah, Tolstoy has some weird beliefs. Also, we posted Jay Dyer's article on Faith about um, the Orthodox view on pacifism and death penalty because that stuff's coming up and being brought up, and it has a connection to Tolstoy bringing in this weird anti-death penalty and pacifism and stuff like that. What else? Does anybody know who this guy is? I feel like this guy's trying to. I don't know if he's a troll. I have no idea. They follow me on X. If they're trying to start stuff, but. Or do they just. Do I give them the benefit of the doubt that they're just ignorant? Like, I have no idea, but listen to this. Were you saying tonight, last night, that Dr. CJY is a heretic who's been excommunicated? Did I get that? Why are you. No. Why would I have Dr. CJY and support his work and have him interviewed? Why would I say something like this? Guy's gotta be like trying to start something, right? Does anybody know who this person is? Do I block them? Or is it just. The person just. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how you would get. The only thing I said last night, we're generally speaking about why are people following and listening, getting their theology for people that have no blessing to teach, that aren't scholars, from people that basically say all the priests, the bishops, and the Orthodox scholars are wrong. Some of these people are young kids. Like, that's all I said. Like, how does that translate to Dr. CJ? Dr. CJY is an Orthodox scholar. So, what am I to make of it? Is this guy trying to start something? Should I block him? What is going on? Who knows anything about this guy? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and being like, but I don't even understand how you would even come up with something like that. Yeah, you should continue your education. Yeah, exactly. It's good. So what's your take? Huh? That's what, dude. Multimask. Lectures, which are pretty dense. Um, you mean the logic lectures, or they're actually intro? I think it sounds dense because they're probably half of that's just. No, see, this is what I'm saying. I don't know who this person. He's not excommunicated. I never said that. He's in good standing. Like, are you guys? Oh, Tolstoy. Forgive me. Maybe that's what happened. It got mixed. Sorry, I was a bit overreactive there. Because obviously I think Dr. CJY is a good guy. He's defending orthodoxy against heretics. doing good works against the apologetics against Islam and stuff. Maybe that was it, because it was mentioned that Tolstoy was excommunicated, and I don't even remember even bringing up Dr. Sijiwade's name yesterday. Like, so I'm assuming that guy is a troll and trying to start stuff, pit me against my friend Dr. Sijiwade. Like, I don't know. If anybody knows anything about that guy, if he's a troll, just let me know. We don't want an episode happen like yesterday where we had a guy coming in and thought they were just autistic, asking genuine questions, got wrapped up for like 15 minutes trying to explain stuff to them before somebody was like, no, they're a Skittles troll. They were trolling somebody else's channel. Thank God for the mods. Eventually banned the person. Yeah, the classics are all worth reading. They're great. Even if they're pagan. I like what Father Josiah said. We shouldn't call our modern society pagan. That's an insult to the pagans. There were good things about the pagans. You know, they were wrong, obviously, about a lot of stuff, but they were far better than what we have now. That's why I was making a joke, you know, when Protestants are like, that pagan stuff brought. It's like, that's not a wit. Like, the pagans were actually farther along than you guys are. Like, yeah, I'm working out why it's difficult for Tag to understand. It's not it has nothing to do with philosophy, not being familiar with philosophy, or but like I said, reading literature, because like my friend Ken, he teaches it to grade school and they get it. So I'm thinking it's that we're taught to think incorrectly um, in schools. The fact that children can get it pretty easy, but the quote unquote educated who've gone to school can't, like, says a lot. Yeah, I got Sophocles over there. This issue came up too in the early church, were pagan philosophers and pagan literature worth reading? And the answer was yes. Um, that classic literature of Western civilization is like essential to understanding history, how we're here. So if you don't read that stuff, um, you kind of don't know what's going on. You can't really kind of connect the dots, and you know, we learn from, you know, whether people are right or wrong. We learn the reason why we read the great books is because they are good thinkers. They ask good questions. They can get stuff wrong. They can get stuff right. But if you think about it like a dialogue, the right important things are being brought up and questioned, and also it they influence history and society, and would explain why we're at where we're at and stuff like that. So I can't even imagine not reading them, where we'd be. Yeah, St. Basil did. But like the pagans had pagan virtue, they had uh real essentialism. They knew that the world was hierarchical. They had an order of being. You know, at least they had gods rather than atheistic, nihilistic, modern. They were concerned about. They're asking the right kinds of questions about science, um, knowledge, the world, the polis, politics. What was there was one other thing that I was going to mention about. That's good. They got stuff right. Change, being. So it's not all nonsense. It's not complete. It's not whole, and they get stuff right. Some better than others. Well, I've talked about Bill as well. That's why I said I think training the right brain to be dominant and reading the great books and classics and literature will help. Is we've trained people to be like kind of a behaviorist model, input output, rules, memorization, left brain, quantitative, analytic, propositional, piecemeal. Um, that's why people think that tags like an is just an argument. If it's not, it's what stands behind all arguments. And it's a holistic picture. You were asking about toll houses. What was the question? Well, didn't Jay and I just actually bring this up? There's two extremes. No, it wasn't Jay. It was Dr. David Patrick Harry when he was on Cleave to Antiquity. There's two extremes that you want to avoid with the toll houses. One, they're bad and they don't exist. Two, when people go so far on the other end that the accuser demons in the toll houses start to look like they can actually affect salvation, um, or that it starts to resemble something like purgatory or something like that. Just avoid the extremes. Learn about Descartes as well. Oh yeah, I've been healed for probably 2 months. My healing, like so, my surgery was on April 4th. I think I was walking by 8 weeks. So what was that? I had a cane for a while, but by the Montanica conference, I was still sore and swollen, but I was walking with the cane, and then soon I was fine after that. So I've been fine ever since. But isn't that funny how time is? Like I had somebody else reading like, "Hope your healing's going well." It's like, wasn't that 6 years ago? Time perception, a weird thing, huh? Could have seemed just like the other day, but it's been um how many months? Yeah, bones typically, if all goes well, heal in 8 weeks. It has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. As of today, exactly 6 months. Can you believe that it's been that long? Is it okay to ask people their opinion on toll houses? I mean, I don't know. I guess. I mean, it depends what your purpose. Sometimes it's revealing of like other maybe problems somebody has. I mean, every situation's different person why you would ask a question, but yeah, Dave, remember how bad that thing was swollen? First of all, my feet already get swollen from the comp just being the amount of like work and on my feet that I'm doing. So like at the end of the nights when everybody uh we were just having kind of fellowship and music, you know, even after that, it was like where most people go, like, I actually took the shoe off and put ice on. I'm like, forgive me if this looks gross, but like, I gotta put ice on my foot. All right, what other questions you guys have? No more super chats. Looking for super chats. Get priority. Oh yeah, Big Lebowski. 45 people in the chat. Anyways, going back to the tag question. So it did sound like. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm not going to mention the name, but there is somebody who wasn't excommunicated, but he's definitely. I mean, these people online that have no blessing, a lot of them are heretics. But I don't think I mentioned anything that any of those people that people are following, trying to get their theology from, that have no blessing and aren't scholars. I don't think I ever said they're excommunicated. I might have said we don't know if they're even Orthodox. A lot of them. Some I do know. Somebody's going to clip that and use that against. It's just nonstop with these people. I don't even want to mention the people's. I don't want to give them attention. So that's why I don't mention. But somebody accused me of saying that I called Dr. C.J. Watt a heretic that was ex-me. I'm like, I never said that. He's in good standing. He's a scholar. I was actually saying go to the prescribed ways. It doesn't mean that any of us are infallible, but priests have a blessing, and there's even some, thank God it's low in numbers, priests saying wrong stuff once in a while. Uh, but like we have scholars, we have people who have blessings to teach. I just don't get why people are getting their theology and talking and following people who are anonymous, who have controversial positions. It's like, well, they've got a good argument. How are we going to respond to it? Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit that he probably misunderstood. No. Do you think in order to speak on art? No. Like, you just got to be. However, to present as yourself as an authority, what I would say, like I said, that people can talk about it. I would definitely say that unless you have and even lady can have a blessing to teach, um, lady should stay away from complicated theology. One of the reasons is we don't know. We don't like if you're not accountable for what you say. Number two, because scholars are accountable. People who are priests and people who have blessing, they're kept. They say something wrong, they can get. But number two, it just produces confusion. That's. But like, no, there's not a problem with people having a conversation about orthodoxy. But when you present yourself as an authority or get into matters that are actually difficult theology like that, you're not supposed to. Seems like I remember early on, close to a year ago, when I started listening to Orthodox debaters, they're all clear about not being ordained to teach. And that's typically a good way to kind of, if you do want to talk about something Orthodox, be like, look, I don't have a blessing to, but um, just like a humble position. Um, my priest, everything I know about Orthodoxy says this. We believe this. And you don't study and learn and get arguments from people who don't have a like it just makes it easy. It fixes a lot of problems that could arise. But Jay and I talked about this last night. The problem is the internet has created a kind of ethos that everybody is on equal footing and let the argument just speak for itself. But that's never been the way of. Some people have authority, some people have credentials and stuff like that. Doesn't mean the other person's argument's wrong, but like it's dangerous ground. I always use the analogy that let's take something really serious that you needed heart surgery. A surgeon could possibly, who went through medical school, not be great and be bad. But you would, if you're going to get heart surgery, you would go to somebody that has qualification. You wouldn't be like, well, other people on the internet said they've studied on their own and know how to do it because they've operated on pigs, so I guess they're have equal weight. That's just like, yeah, just that's one of the problems is they get it. That's a difficult thing. First things first, right? Like if you're like lifting weights or working, like you don't go to lift heavy stuff and get injured. Start with the basics. The people who are saying monarchical Trinitarianism is a heresy have no blessing. They don't have credentials. They go against all the priests and the bishops on. So that's why I'm saying don't get confused. Like one way to not get confused is don't listen to those people. Don't follow them. They've caused tons of problems on the internet and in parishes. They've even, some of these people have been kicked out of parishes. Like, so it's just, I just don't get why people don't have any discernment these days. Like, this be like, those are the people that you're listening and be like, how do we respond? I'm confused. I don't know which one's right. It's like, well, go with the priest, the consensus of the, like, if 98% of the priests are saying, because they'll always find some priest that's going to agree with their heresy. That's not how orthodoxy works. 98% of the priests and the Orthodox scholars are saying monarchical Trinitarian is the Orthodox. Like, you don't have to get into detail and work the arguments out. It's probably too difficult for you. Be like, I'm going with the way Orthodoxy works. The priests and the scholars are right. And randos with no blessing or credentials are probably wrong. Yeah, we're warned about. And don't follow these people. I'm getting to the point where, like, even if you don't know and you follow these people, I'm blocking you. Like, that's, these people want attention. They want to be seen like they're important without doing the hard work of studying and getting credentials. And so the last thing I'm gonna do is argue with them and give them attention, name their names. Like, that's why I won't even mention all these people's names. Or don't. Like, I'm not gonna force you to. As Father Russell says, when he's holding the cross at the end of the liturgy, notice what he doesn't do. He doesn't take the person's head and make them kiss and venerate the cross. There it is. You have free will to do what none of us clergy can force you to. We recommend things that work out good for you and recommend that you don't do things that work out bad for you. That's all. And if people don't want to listen to that, like, it ends bad. Like, playing devil's advocate, I've heard the argument before. How would you argue against the position of the truth? Well, first of all, I'd probably press somebody on um, why is appeal to consensus bad? I mean, if the Holy Spirit and God, if that's the means by which he decides to, in his church, reveal truth, like, why is that bad? I think what they have to do is just abstract, well, any sort of, like, nobody said any sort of consensus. But think about, so it's not just an abstract principle, it the details matter. I mean, if you were a detective or you were in a court, what has more weight? One person's testimony or what happens when you're a detective or officer is interviewing multiple people and there's a consensus in the report of what happened? Is somebody going to be like, oh, that's a falsely appealed to consensus? It's like, so nobody's just saying just because it's consensus makes it correct. And furthermore, I've always argued the councils are not infallible, the ecumenical councils in themselves. It's not because they're like, that's what makes it true. It's the whole, it's the kataholos that makes so they've got it reversed. The councils don't exist apart from the other pieces. And if a council isn't true, if it doesn't affirm the previous councils, if it's outside of the church, like there's a whole, all the different pieces. If it's against the consensus of the fathers and the witness of the church, like it's not true. It's not. So they have this weird like that's the epistemic principle. It's like no, it's not. Ecumenical councils only exist the way they are within the whole. And part of that is the notion of reason and argumentation too, is a part of. But none of those are sufficient conditions. Suppose there's 8, I'm just making this up, 8 necessary conditions by which makes something justified in knowing that it's true. Ecumenical councils are only one of. So people are treating like it's like mechanical and it's a sufficient condition. It's like no, it's not. Otherwise, we'd have to say robber councils are true. That the Council of Florence is true, and yeah, don't get distracted, Penny. Work on the basics. You have to think about like when you're going through catechesis, they don't start you off at the toll houses, right? You learn the basics and you move upwards. What you don't see, by the way, in councils is random laity and unqualified people coming in and arguing. They're like, well, here's an argument we have to deal with. And you still have to, yeah. That's why I said no priest or even bishop is infallible. They get stuff wrong. Part of that discernment is, isn't it odd that all the priests are saying the same thing? That's a discernment. Isn't it odd that this priest doesn't match the history, the fathers, the rest of the priests, and what they're like? That's a type of discernment. But like maybe that person, the outlier, is wrong. Satan Slayer, $25. Thank you, Father, for being a large part of my conversion. Well, thank you. I'm starting my catechesis next week. Law of God by Father Daniel. Well, he's good, so I haven't read the book itself. Yeah, consistency. I mean, think about when analyzing Well, let's just go back to the crime example. When a police officer or detective's analyzing, isn't consistency in a story? I mean, don't you always say in the crime show, it's like, well, you change your position now on that. So when they're trying to figure something out, isn't right things matching up in a consensus? But like, huh, they're all reporting that it was a person with a purple shirt. Isn't that like, aren't those epistemic uh, clues and tools for when we get expert testimony? Isn't there? It's not infallible, but like, doesn't it have epistemic weight? Like, Gary G, $10. You're always using that max. Do you have habits to unplug, disengage when your brain needs a rest from all mandolin, skiing, fishing, um, Orthodox movie night? We do Orthodox bowling. We did. I like doing social stuff a lot with people because it's Trinitarian. It's a communal. We did the previous week music bingo night. Yeah, all those are. Here are the jurisdictions. Don't worry about the jurisdictions. Every jurisdiction has issues. All you're going to think about, and you're not baptized into, you're not baptized and united to a jurisdiction. You're baptized Orthodox. You go to a parish that's inevitably in a jurisdiction. So you're going to think, I have to say this every stream, at a local parish level. Is this a good fit for me? Is the pastor a good pastor? So don't need to worry about jurisdictions. Yeah, well, people are like gatekeep. It's like a guy that called in yesterday. Religion's just just attempting to control like human. It's like, well, first of all, what did I say? I'm like, maybe controlling gatekeeping's based. I mean, like, where do you get off saying that that's wrong from an atheistic? Don't parents gatekeep? Like, isn't that a good thing if done correctly? Like, so yeah, I'm on an anarchist, modern, secular, you know, laws and order are bad, and authority. So these people just say like unjustified stuff all the time. Yeah, remember the Bob Dylan stuff? You gotta serve someone. Might be the devil, might be the Lord. Everybody serves somebody. Yeah. Do I have videos on what topics? And by the way, the epistemic principle in terms of like discernment and spiritual, let's say I get a thought that I think is true. Do you know what I do? I don't lean on my own understanding and be like, well, I'm obviously right. I don't even need to. I go to my priest. I'm like, I had this thought. What do you think? Oh, deacon, it's a really good. Yes, I agree. Okay. I have multiple clergy that give me advice, and I go to, Father, what do you think about this? I have a spiritual father. Father, what do you think about Because I've spent time with them. I've lived a life. The proof's in the pudding, right? Like I've seen when things are bad, how they act really like display virtue and wisdom, that a trust is formed. And that's the difference between a Western understanding of knowledge and Eastern. Knowledge is the experience, it's the personal, incarnational reality that's not mediated. I learn, I see these people are like they know what they're saying and doing, and I trust them. Scripture says a wise man seeks multiple counsel. That's what I do because I don't lean on my own understanding. And when I get a consensus, that's further justification that I'm like, okay, that, and it doesn't mean I have to shut my mind off. Like I look, I read the fathers and, read the history. I'm like, oh, it matches the same stuff that the fathers are saying too. Those are all justifications. But there's this weird idea that a lot of people have that have rooted back to this kind of Cartesian certitude, what's also known as the strong theory of knowledge, that with the true justified belief, the justifications for that, the reasons have to be indubitable, and which is like a level of infallibility. It's like, that's ridiculous. If that were the case, nobody would have any knowledge whatsoever of like intuitive things that we intuitively like, yeah, I know there's a gas station next door. But have you eliminated all possible doubt? What if it's a hologram? And what if it's just a facade and there's nothing inside the gas? All I need is a sufficient reason for a true belief. And as long as it's true, then yeah, it's knowledge. So I'm going through these kinds of principles in the Orthodox Church, right? Of kind of consensus, wise counsel, how we know things through incarnational experience and personal experience, matching history, matching the fathers, all these different things. Does it remove every possible like no, but like that's sufficient. It's good enough reason to. And what's the other alternative? That's the other thing. Like if it's not that, what do you what's your epistemic principle going to be that how you justify knowing like stuff or having true beliefs? On the fast, by the way, digital fasting's good too. Dopamine fasts to reset. I talked about that with Dr. Pete. If you haven't seen that, check out that video. All right, let's see if we have any more super chats. All right, other questions. Let me switch this to this. What news is going on? Leave. Hmm. I'm searching. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Florida. It'll be fun. Jim Bob, what's up, bud? Ben, what's up? What is new? What should we talk about? Talked about the death penalty yesterday, and we did it on the X space. Boomer tech time. We having boomer tech problems? Jim Bob, I like that you've been going after the Mormons. The Anglican lady. Octavian, 1999, I think. How many stream hours did you log yesterday? 5 with Jay. Probably 3. So 8 hours. I was tired at the end of the night. Yeah, I slept well. I didn't even eat my valerian tea. I got this valerian tea that's pretty good. Which is better than melatonin. You want to be careful with melatonin. You don't want to deplete your melatonin. Blessing of the ice agents. Oh no, the block of ice. Yeah, what's good for anxiety too is I don't suffer from anxiety, but uh, magnesium. Magnesium citrate's good. I said I think most mental health and health itself can be treated with diet. But nobody wants to work out. They want to take a pill. An easy. Yeah, Mormonism's so wild. By the way, Jim Bob, I was thinking about this. They're so snaky. Like they're never forthright on what they actually believe. Isn't that interesting? Like you ask Orthodox, they don't obfuscate. It's like here's what the Orthodox believe. Notice Mormons never. It's like we don't believe that. It's like, but you do. We know that you do. Why are you playing these games with us? Does God have a father? Right? Oh, but God's not created. Well, it's because they have this weird kind of pantheistic monism or something like this. Yeah, that not like everything's eternal. It just changes forms. Well, you know what a form is? It's an essence. So God didn't always have the essence of God that he has now. Isn't Jim Bob, isn't that kind of the argument that you try to get them in and they won't, I mean they won't answer it. Oh, that's not our position, and it's just so crazy that. And they do the same thing when they're proselytizing, they go to door. Oh, we're Christians just like you. It's like, that's not true. We believe the same stuff as you. So one of the things we mean by God is uncreated, right? But that's not the only thing that we say about the essence of God doesn't change. Does it undergo change? Was it a different essence? They won't answer it. Yeah, magnesium glycate, also citrate's good. Magnesium bath, you can absorb, and you don't get the poopy problems either. If you take too much magnesium, you'll have bathroom problems, but you can absorb a lot more. Yeah, Muslims just said, we believe in Jesus, we honor. It's like, what we haven't actually tried on the Muslims that we do with the Mormon, we're not actually, it's not the same referent. So you can't say, you can't have a disagreement and be like, no, you're wrong about it, because we're actually talking about two different things. We do that with the Muslims. The word God's not referring to the same. We haven't tried that one on the Mormons yet. I'm interested to see how that works. Wow, in the Mandarin language, the word Mormon means demon. I love how they changed that too. We're not Mormons anymore. We're the Church of the Latter Day. Because their prophet told them, we're now calling ourselves this. There is somebody that I'm not going to mention them by name, that's not in the church who's pretending to be Orthodox. Maybe that's what you're referring to, but yeah, cutting out alcohol, cutting down is a great way to feel better. Even fasting from. Yeah, we got to lean into that more. We're not referring to the same thing when you use that same word. It's a pure theism. Do they know, Jim Bob, that where we're going with the argument we asked, does the father have a father who has a father? And keep in mind, too, their epistemology reduces to subjectivism. Think about the whole thing with what justification does um, Smith have writing himself into the Bible? Well, because he's a prophet. How do you know a prophet? Because you can write yourself into the. Okay, what epistemic principle do you have to distinguish between someone claiming to be a prophet who isn't and one who legitimately is? And then what it reduces to, either circular reasoning, pick your favorite prophet, and if you picked it, then it's your favorite prophet, it's a prophet, or it just reduces to subjective. Burning the bosom, which we all know is just indigestion. Indigestion epistemology. Holy smokes, dude. That's what your religion boils down to? Oh, they know, but they don't understand the consequences. Yeah, we no longer believe this, so we just change it. Yeah, it's the same as the trans criteria. That's funny. What is a woman? What is a prophet? Yeah, there's people just blatantly lie too. Which Muslims are allowed to. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Hardy har har. Also, I mean, I've done this. You can do this with Roman Catholics. Ask them the falsifying principle. Like, yeah, but what would it take for you to abandon and realize your position is false? Nothing. It's the church. The church can never be wrong. Even when it's wrong, it's not wrong. That's basically all these trad cats. Oh, I don't have to follow Vatican II. Yeah, you do. I saw people who were like, and they have that's a cult mentality. Nothing could be evidence in my position. Everything's evidence for it's the church. How could the church be? But that's what's in question. Is it the church? But it's the church. How could it be? Is it? Is it the church? It's the church. Don't you see people are brainwashed? That's a cult. Same thing could be asked to a Mormon. What would it take? What for you to say my position's incorrect? They'll say nothing. I know it's true. But that's what's in question. How do you know that? Because it can't be wrong. If you built a non-falsifiable system, that itself is an argument against it. Can I usually tell? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what usual. I haven't got my statistical formula out on, but for the most part, especially the more that you talk to somebody, that you'll start to, it becomes more probable that they're not. Like, for example, this guy that came in yesterday that was lecturing me on, I can't believe you don't wear your cassock out skiing and playing mandolin in the bar with the bluegrass band. What are you afraid? I mean, shouldn't you wear it all the time? And when I said, I'm under obedience, like my spiritual father told me, you don't, unless you're specifically doing, right, serving somebody, doing a church service, a church event, or I'm teaching because they asked me, he says, you don't wear it. Most priests don't in America. When I'm in an Orthodox country, yeah, I wear it everywhere. Um, and this guy just couldn't get it. It's like, do you know that it looks scandalous? Like, and that's not because it is. We're not pietist. Priests can drink at a bar, right? You don't get drunk, but you. However, not everybody understands that. That could be a stumbling block, right? So that's why I was told there's certain places that maybe are not appropriate to wear your cassock. What are you afraid? I mean, shouldn't you always? Is there a time when you're not clerk? It's like I'm not gonna be lectured by. But first of all, it's a grave sin to disobey your spiritual father. So he asks, "What is obedience?" I'm like, "That's a warning sign and a clue that the person's. If you don't know what obedience is, and obedience in Orthodoxy, And you start to, the fact that the person doesn't know that most clergy don't, for practical and for other reasons too, that it may be appropriate. You may, you know, there's explicit uh, evangelizing by wearing, and then there's softer forms too. If you don't know this kind of nuance, like that, those are all kind of signs you're probably not Orthodox. And then people, it was my fault yesterday that I even engaged with this guy for 15 minutes. Notice no matter how many sufficient answers, it means you disagree and you won't accept it. Or you're trying to trap me in a, and do something malicious, which I think I should have spotted early on. And thanks to you guys, we're saying, yeah, Wilroy. They were like, oh, he's a Skittles troll. He was trolling somebody else. It's like, okay, I should have picked up on. My fault. Won't happen again. He was confused about, like, well, Roman Catholics do. Oh, he could be back. Shoot. And then I told him, I'm like, suppose he was Orthodox. The issue's pride. You're given enough reasons to accept. You need to not know it. How about what should have been? But like, don't worry. What I should have done, I said, don't worry about it. You don't need to know. You need to accept it. You don't have to, like, I mean, think about if we approached Orthodoxy. Well, I won't believe anything in Orthodoxy until I've gone through every single piece of the philosophical argument to my specification and degree of certitude. It's just like, dude, shut up. Like, there's the problem. He was trolling your, yeah. So, and like we got on X Space too, these, I've had a million times on here, Jim Bob, I'm sure you've had this too. They start off nice, just like the Mormons. And, or they'll call in, Jay, I love your work. You know, all the positive stuff, blah blah blah. Like, well, just have a general, just a genuine question. Have you thought about what you're gonna say to your Lord on Judgment Day? What have you done for me, Jay Dyer? How do you account for all the mongoloids you created on the internet? Jay, I heard you use a racist term. Is that, if I bring my children to Orthodox Church, are they going to experience racism? No, it's a genuine question, Jay. I really like your work. I'm just genuinely asking. Can't you see that these people are not good faith? And they mask it in fake piety language. Well, shouldn't all clergy? I mean, no true Christian would use a potty mouth language. Remember the guy that came on and was criticizing Jay for that and then started cussing him out, this evangelical tard? That's like, no self awareness. It's like, you're calling Jay out because he used a bad word once and that he's mean, while this guy actually started, like, then cussing, like, and it's like, they always crash out. That's so true. Now, that's not to say, as the psalmist says, put a guard over my lips and a door locked upon my heart, right? and that, things that, we should watch our language, but we don't have like this kind of Protestant pietism, puritanicalism. Yeah, Trent Dortry was the same. Good point. I totally forgot about that guy until you brought that up. What is an evangelical? By the way, I know that Ben from Cleaved Antiquity here, we talked about this, but you had the kind of mainline Protestants saying that the no true Protestant. All right, well, Ben wasn't an actual Protestant, not a true like. Well, what do we have? Another problem with words again. Words can only mean one thing. You notice from when the interview with Dr. Sijiwade, he had an important point that probably relates to this. Words are not determined by what you like, unless you're doing a stipulative definition. Stipulative definition and logic is something you define for the first time. Individuals don't get to determine what the meaning of those are usually culturally and historically decided, right, by the group, what's accepted by, and those can change. As he had brought up the issue with Madagascar, and the referent used to refer to a city, and then because Marco Polo falsely identified and got confused, and started referring to the huge island um, on the side of the southern part of Africa. It actually, the meaning of it and referent actually changed because of the historical, social, and cultural acceptance of that. So, no, you don't get to define what Protestant means. It's generally accepted. Yes, there is a historical Protestant movement of Luther and the Reformers. However, it's an umbrella term generally to speak about if one identifies as a Christian, but they do not accept Roman Catholicism or Orthodoxy. They are what? They may not explicitly be protesting, but it's an implicit protest. I'm protesting that that's not true and I'm not part of it. That makes you a problem. Like, that's generally, then you can subcategorize that. I would say an evangelical, uh, it doesn't just have to be non denominational, but I'd say that Baptists and Pentecostals are evangelical. Um, there is, what would you say, Cleve? That's a good question. There's usually a charismatic spirit to different levels within evangelical. Um, they tend to focus on contemporary forms of worship. Uh, in one sense, actually a good sense, the experience of God. Like I think they do get uh, evangelical probably comes from the word of evangelizing, so they're big into evangelizing. Help me out here, guys. We're naming enough that we can categorize it. Yeah, a good point, Ben. Trinitarian Christians who are not RC or EO, they're protesting that implicitly. But let's figure out evangelical. So it doesn't just have to be non-denominational, because I would include Baptist and Pentecostals, Assemblies of God. Um, in evangelical, there's a charismatic sort of spirit. It could be in different various degrees. They're big on evangelizing. They're big on experience of God. Uh, Contemporary worship. Did I miss anything? Good point. They are low church, liturgically, if you're going to say the word, in terms of worship service. There is a type of puritanicalism, I think, in they tend not to drink, smoke, dance, tend to. By the way, speaking of smoking, do you know there's a pipe called the church warden? It's a long, because in some Protestant churches, there'd be a church warden that would sit there and had their pipe stem long enough that they could tap people to wake them up if they're falling asleep during the service. So that probably wouldn't be found in evangelical church. The smoking church warden. Oh, that's a good point. Um, Probably less, more egalitarian, less hierarchical in terms of church structure. Is a mark of evangelical. This is actually a really good question and thought to think about. But we have to use, it's not just sola person, like, because that could be said about multiple. We have to, what specifically makes an evangelical Protestant Christian versus kind of mainline is the stuff that I want to focus on. Not something that all Protestants have in common, but something specifically that would delineate evangelicals from congregates around a strong personality. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Not all evangelicals are dispensationalists, so I'm not going to include that, although a large percentage might be. What else would you say? And Baptists can be divided. They could be Calvinists, or they could be um obviously not. No, you can. We're just you can throw in any topic. I don't mind. It just was an interesting one we were talking about. How do you define an evangelical? But I'm willing to take other. Do you know that? Interesting enough, speaking about rapture and dispensationalism, Kirk Cameron, who starred in the Left Behind series, actually abandoned rapture theory. Yeah, so that's why the street preachers are evangelicals, because they're big on evangelizing and that particular mode of evangelizing. So that question has come up before too. Why don't Orthodox evangel? It's like we do, but evangelism doesn't always look the same everywhere at all places. People have different ideas of what evangelism is and what it looks like. What church is this? This looks cool. All right, throw your questions in. There's some. Lord of Spirits podcast. Who's the publisher on this? The Bow book, the biography of the devil. Huh. Interesting. Okay, there's a stupid libertarian post. I'm not gonna read that. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the Calvary chapels when I was younger, and we were like, we're non denominational. Like, and there was this idea of like denominations were extra biblical, right? And they would say, we just read the Bible, we're just Christian, we're just followers of Jesus, you see. We don't have extra biblical creeds. We don't exalt men above, even though we have Pope Chuck Smith. We don't have icons, even though we have an icon of a dove. Calvary Chapel was known to have the icon of the dove. That's how you identify that there's a Calvary Chapel right there. It's got that dove. Then you have Oneness Pentecostals. Yeah. I mean, it's just so contradictory too. We're the non-denomination denomination. I mean, people just don't know what words mean. A better word is sect. That's when the Romanian, they call them sectarians, right? Well, sect implies there's something that they're sectarian from. That's why Orthodoxy is not a sect, right? It's people who are outside of that, right, are the sect. So that's really what denomination means. You're a sect outside of the church, the historic institution who's preserved the faith unblemished. Yeah, they all have organizations. So it's just not thought, they're just platitudes and kind of nice words that, like, a lot of people just have to be religious. You know, I even ask my students, just taking words that we use every day, I'm like, have you thought about what this word means? Nope. Most people don't think about the meaning of words. Yeah, it depends on the type of organizational structure. There probably are registered uh what is it, 501c tax exempt as a religious organization, so they are in a, like, it's impossible to get out that they're not an organization, but the level of organization, how that works, I do know with Calvary Chapel is, I don't know if they still operate this way, but Chuck Smith owned the title Calvary Chapel. And they even had a Bible college that they had their own college, their own high school and junior high and grade school, which I went to the junior high and high school. And then there would be Calvary chapels. Chuck Smith could shut those down. Like, if they were teaching something that that Chuck didn't believe, he could actually, when Chuck died and Brian Broderson came in, there was a huge, Brian Broderson was interesting because he brought in, there was a church, I think it was like from Oregon, called Mars Hill, that had kind of like some process theology stuff in it, that he brought in some of that stuff, and there was kind of a split, and there were legal issues of whether the Smith family owned the, and people kind of broke off and splintered off from there. So I don't know where they stand as in terms of. I have a friend that was an amazing wrestler that's a pastor that I went to school with. He's a pastor now of a Calvary Chapel in Yorba Linda. I should ask him. I'd be like, how does the organization work? Like, is the mothership still in charge down in Costa Mesa? Or is it, what do they call that in is it like franchise? Like, I don't understand legally how it works. Is a great question. Ooh, that's an interesting question, Zach. Relationality. Oh, does it have being? It's not an entity. Entis mean being. However, if you look up, just gonna pop it up. Aristotle's categories. I'm gonna show you something. Oh, this article's too detailed. I'm just gonna list up. I hate to use Wikipedia, but it probably has a good list of, just so you can see. So in Aristotle's categories, um, there are forms of predication which we say that um, something can exist. All right. Something can be in a substance, ousia, or essence, and then that can be divided into primary, secondary. So this man, Socrates versus man. Something exists as a quantity, and then he divides that into discrete or continuous. Quality, poion. Examples: white, black, grammatical, hot, sweet, curved, straight. Relative. So this is kind of what you're asking. And there's a lot of different relations that can exist. But a relation isn't a substance. So something can be double, half, large, master. Knowledge itself is a relation. Place. Examples in the marketplace, the agora, and the lyceum. Time. Relative position. So here's another relation too. Lying, sitting, standing. I guess left and right could be correlative positions. States or conditions. Action and affection, being affected by. He believes that all the things that exist, modes of existence, that's the 10 that you could categorize in. So I think that's fine. I'm willing to say that does Orthodox believe relations exist? Yeah, is a relation like but not it's not a substance, it's not a person, essence. Does that make sense? Consciousness would be relational because consciousness is being aware. Um, that's actually this came up in philosophy of mind. This is a difficult one. For the most part, it's a qualitative awareness or experience of something. However, I remember in grad school the question came up of things like anxiety or like a panic attack or something that is not actually a state, a emotional cognitive state. You're obviously aware, but it has no object. There's nothing you're anxious about. It's you're just in that state. That would be a conscious. So that wouldn't be a relation. So that's a difficult. And most part, consciousness is about. It's a qualitative awareness about something. It has an intentional object. Um, but in that example, it doesn't. Like I could be just in a state of anxiety about nothing. No, nominalism didn't exist back then, so it wouldn't be nominal. You don't get nominalism to William Ockham in the Middle Ages, so it's not a name, it's actually it's a mode of existence. Okay, good question though. But related to the filioque, in Latin theology, persons are relations. In Orthodoxy, they're not. That's why we define them in themselves, right? By their hypostatic and not by relations. A person can't be a relation. It's just a fundamental confusion of category there. Now, of course, Aristotle doesn't have the category person, but you get the idea. Okay, other questions? Remember the Bible verse, be anxious for nothing, but everything in prayer and supplication, let your requests be known to God. Anxiety, fear is of the devil, right? Oh my gosh, forgive me. People always have. Okay, I'm gonna assume ghosts. You're not asking about jurisdiction. Nobody worry about jurisdictions. That's off the table for you. You're asking about a particular parish, correct? How do I pick a good parish? Is that because there's only one Orthodox church, so problem solved right there. So you're probably asking, what's a good parish for me? Is that correct? Here's what you do. You visit multiple parishes. You talk to the people. If you want, you can ask the priest, like, uh, if you're worried about whether the priest is very orthodox in their theology, you could ask, like, what do you think about Masons, women's ordination, the female diaconate, um, stuff like that. You probably get a pretty good idea. Did your parish lock down and make people wear masks for COVID? Like, that might be a good. If it's no, we didn't. We believe, let no man fear death, as St. John Chrysostom. We believe we put the kingdom of God first. We believe in the resurrection. You can't, masonry is condemned, and there's no women's ordination. Then you probably know the priest is a good priest, and then just get a feel for, like, talking to people, like, would this be a good fit for me? Could I see myself? You're not going to know that unless you experience multiple parishes. And by the way, the Lord lets OCA, GoArc, Serbian, Rokor, the Bulgarians are in the OCA, the Romanians, am I missing? All of those are canonical churches, so they're all legit. Does it mean there's the most base? No, there's no most base jurisdiction. They all have issues. But you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about. You want to know, am I going to a canonical Orthodox church? And is this parish, regardless of what jurisdiction, a good fit for me? Is a good pastor? Does he have wisdom, experience? Is he not liberal? Wants women's ordination and gay skittle stuff? Like, then you're all good. It's like you don't have anything to worry about. But going back to the question, the Lord allows, just as Job, the demons and the devil to attack us. It's under attacks that we learn to get over the problems that's causing fear and anxiety. This is why we fast too. If you never had any problems or any attacks, how could you get stronger? You just feed yourself with comfort, food, and dopamine hits, and you'd never change. You'd never grow up. You'd never acquire virtues. There's stuff underlying that when we're just sedating ourselves with pleasures that we'll never see that there's an underlying cause to all these symptoms that you won't see if you're self-medicating yourself with pleasure and dopamine, and so you take it out, all right? You allow yourself to be attacked, so you're like, okay, there it is. There's what I need to work on. The reason why I'm anxious and is because I haven't acquired the virtues, the spiritual virtues yet to overcome. And then, well, how do you acquire virtue? Through the struggle, through the attacks. So what we don't do is despair, like, I can't, I'm so anxious, I can't believe this. God, just don't have God just take it away, because you won't be healed. God, help me overcome this. Give me the virtues and strengths to endure the attacks. But don't wave the wand and be like, just make it go away. I mean, that's what drugs and pleasures do. They just, okay, it's all gone. You won't feel anything anymore. That's not what we want. God, give me the strength to do battle. You're in battle, like you're signed up for a battle, like, and it's gonna be tough. But you'll get stronger. You have the help of the saints, the Holy Trinity, the Mother of God, your guardian angel to help. But they're not gonna do it for you. As Father Russell says, it's not a you go get him Jesus. It's God is strengthening us and allowing us to work with him to make ourselves more than what we were, make ourselves stronger, acquire the virtues. Yeah, and in the end, it's just going to make you. What's really interesting talking to recovered addicts, when they're in their abuse, if you ask them, are you having a good time? Like, oh, everything's great. Like, I should just be happy, and this is why. Are you miserable? No, I'm high, I'm drunk, whatever. Ask them when they sober up. Well, you told me that, you were in a state of bliss and pleasure and you weren't miserable. What do you say now? And they'll say, I was miserable. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I mean, look, there's some of the Romanians have, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't like it, but for various reasons, different uh, jurisdiction ethnicities, their priests are shaving the beards and stuff like that. I mean, but I mean, in of itself, it's not something to. My spiritual father doesn't have a beard, and he's awesome. Like, so it's just like, yeah, I wish he did, but yeah, I. That's the way that we usually. Father Russell doesn't have a beard. He has a big cowboy mustache here, but it's just like, well, I'm not. I'm the deacon. I'm not the boss of. Like, I don't. It's not a theological. It's an ascetic that we've carried through the church that I would say, yeah, you should, but like, it's not a legalistic. People get so caught up in statutoryism and legalism. All right, what other questions do we have? Hmm. The etymology is diachron. Is the all right? Well, come on. Other questions before we bail? Yeah, it depends on how they define miserable. Like, I think the define it is the lack of pleasure or something like that. Um, but that itself is ambiguous too, because like the philosophical, like Mill Johnson, who are hedonists, distinguish between like base pleasures and what they call attitudinal pleasures, like reading philosophy, going to a play at the theater, engaging in constructed. He would say that those are pleasures. They're attitudinal. They're higher, and they give like a fulfillment or something like that. But what I would say is that just because I don't have pleasure doesn't mean I'm miserable. Because happiness, eudaimonia, is not a feeling. It's well-being. It's a teleological fulfillment of one's nature and purpose. And so when I'm struggling, going through difficult stuff, to teach, to study, to write papers, to serve when you're tired, it's not quote unquote pleasurable, but it's fulfilling. It's happiness. It's eudaimonic, right? And so they look and be like, oh, because you're tired, or it's like it's a struggle to do something, so you're not happy, you just need a beer and intoxicate yourself. Like, that's not what happiness means. Like, I don't need to have dopamine hits all the time to be a happy person and fulfilled. So, yeah, I'm not, and this applies to marriage too. What do you always hear? People get a divorce, and what do they click? Oh, I wasn't happy, and by happiness they mean I wasn't experiencing the level of pleasure that I wanted for me, I, me, mine. And it's like, well, who told you that's what marriage was supposed to do? Like, marriage is a struggle, it's a martyrdom. You're laying down your life for the other. That's what love is. It's a concrete action, kenotic, an outpouring, and laying, it's a martyrdom. So, no, it's not always pleasurable, it's difficult. But it's joyous, it's fulfilling, because man was meant for wife, and wife meant for man was meant for women, women meant for. Bishops have to have beard. Bishops, I would say there's more like there's more reasons a bishop would have a beard. They're monastics. Like, have you seen a monk that doesn't have a beard? I'd say there's even more reasons for bishops to have beards than even clergy. Your priest does do chrismations after he baptizes. There's no baptism. Baptism's incomplete without a chrismation. So you maybe don't realize that he's doing that, but every priest does, or you just mean he doesn't do reception by chrismation alone, but every priest does chrismation in receiving somebody. Somebody brought that up the other day and actually thought the priest didn't do chrismation. I'm like, then there's no baptism. Like that's the seal right there. I'm totally against corrective baptism. I think it's awful. That being said, I have good reasons why I would like, let's just, it's good to just kind of have it universalized that everybody's received through baptism. Um, while acknowledging the bishop does have the authority to make the decision, um, So it's legitimate. The chrismation, receiving by chrismation, if the bishop such decides to do that, completes whatever's lacking. Um, it's just, if you ask me if you were a bishop, what would you? I'd be like, yeah, I'd universalize it to be like everybody's just gonna come in through. But corrective baptism's wrong. Why? Because it says it was illegitimate that you came. It's like, no, that's not true. Like, it's a grave error to have a corrective baptism. No, correct. That's not what corrective baptism is. Corrective baptism is when you were received into the Orthodox Church already and sealed through chrismation, and say that didn't do anything because you had a heterodox baptism. You actually have to have the baptism, and then you baptize somebody once they're already in the church. That's corrective baptism is not, because I received a baptism coming in. I had a heterodox baptism when I was younger, and I was baptized. I was given the option: do you want the baptism and I said, I want the baptism. That's not corrective baptism. Corrective baptism is when you're already sealed and in the church, and it's basically like that didn't do anything because you didn't have a baptism, and you go somewhere else against your priest and the bishop, and you church hop until you find somebody to give you a baptism once you're already in the church. That seems completely incorrect. And they do it, unfortunately, in Mount Athos. Yeah, people go to Mount Athos to get this. It's really bad. It's a stain on Mount Athos that they do such stuff. Annulment baptism, yeah. I mean, Mount Athos is one of the most holy places, but they've had some weird stuff that comes up there once in a while. So don't be so naive. They'd be like, even though it might be the holiest place, that um, it's immune from error, sin, and problems that occur sometimes. All right. Any other super chats? Questions? We have 62 people. Good. Right on. Um, I gotta send this. Yeah, that's a great point too. A lot of them are in line to accept the Ukrainian schismatics. Yeah, that's. I'm running out of ideas to talk about. I need you guys to be more interactive. By the way, I was thinking about yes, doing memberships, and then you get exclusive access to stuff. Thought it for a while. Forgive me that I'm absent-minded. But somebody had recently kind of reminded me of that, and I thought that was a good idea. Oh, cool. cool. They're going to continue the conference in Houston. All right, good. I was worried that would get canceled. That's good news. So it looks like I'll probably be in Houston. February 6th through 8th. February 5th through 8th. If anybody's in the Houston area, if anybody's in the Los Angeles area, this weekend I will be at St. Stephen's Cathedral serving with His Grace. Bishop Maxim and the rest of the priests, so come for Vespers and Liturgy if you can make it. Yeah, the mountain will never fall. It's just back in the day I could do a kick. I wasn't a big skater. I had friends that were really good. Do I ever come to the East Coast? Florida. I'm going in November. Went to Seminary St. Vlad's in New York. I visited St. Nia's Monster, which is now St. Siluana's, in Union Bridge, Maryland. What other places on the East Coast have I been other than just airports? Hoping to see you Sunday at St. Stephen's. Yeah, not tomorrow, but the next. Yeah, design $10. Yeah, be great. I'm looking forward to that. Union Bridge, Maryland. Yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful. No way. That's crazy. Yeah, go check it out. It's a great monastery. Good friends there. Thank you for appreciating my stream. Oh yeah, barrel roll and the bodyboard. By the way, you always know somebody who's not in surf culture. They'll call bodyboarding boogie boarding. But boogie board is Maury Boogie was a brand of a bodyboard. But then like Kleenex, it just tissues ended up becoming all tissues are now Kleenexes. And I'm planning my surf, although I wish I would have done better at kind of working out and getting my muscles. Big swell coming in. I was telling my godson, I'm like, I'm not going to Huntington Beach out. Like, it's too long of a pat. Like, I need like a closer shore break kind of something that's not a long paddle out because I'm gonna have a hard time. So I'm pulling up Surfline. I hadn't looked at that for over 5 years. Like looking at, where the swell's hitting, where it'd be ideal. But I mean, it looks like Thursday, Friday, 4 to 6 foot faces at some of these. Um, no, there's no Office of Exorcist. That's interesting that the Office of Exorcism is a separate office in which one was trained, came about and with the Latins, they didn't always have that. Every priest can do an exorcist, and everybody who comes into the church receives an exorcism. Now, there's something on top of that, a priest can go and visit somebody and do an exorcism. Goes $4.99. Just want to thank you, and Jay, you helped me turn to God bless you. First time on my prayers. Wow, first time. May be blessed. Um, exorcism are pretty. Oh yeah, high tide twice a day. Correct. So you got to look at the tides, and you have to know with the tides. Certain beaches do better at different tides and different levels. Um, so you have to know your beaches. You have to know the tides. Typically, it's best on a tidal push, going from low into high. But if it gets too high, you can't catch the wave. It'll just be mush. Like they won't be able to catch any waves. If it's too low, you're gonna hit rocks and depending where you're at, or you won't be able to catch those waves, or they won't be breaking. Very big. They'll kind of just putter out. They won't. So it's really kind of interesting. You have to know which beaches take what direction of swells, whether some beaches are better at south swells, western versus north, kind of western. Like all of those are. Oh, you got to see the video. This was probably like 3 or 4 years ago when Michael Moeller and David Patrick Harry and I went to. Whoa, Michael Moeller was getting baptized. That's why we went out to California. And I'd never skimboard before. I was like, I know how to surf, ski, snowboard, wakeboard, like pretty good at, really good surfer and skier. When I was snowboard, I was pretty good. I'm like, how hard can it be? Um, I broke my, I ate it so bad and I broke, he's got it on video. I broke my wrist. And I was like, man, it's actually a lot more difficult than. All right, there was some other thing I was talking about and I got distracted. Moeller. Moeller. You guys don't know Dr. Michael Moeller? Patrick's godson? Dr. Deacon. Dr. Deacon. Dr. David Patrick Harry, forgive me. Sponger, yeah. Sponger is somebody that's on a bodyboarder. A bodyboard. They're made of, yeah, like a type of foam. That's why we call them. By the way, you know what? I think my computer needs updates or something, or like, I was going to. I love watching these reels. I always watch the wedge. But when I click on. Where is this? That's got to be pipeline. All right, hold on a second. Let me. Have you guys? I used to bodyboard at the wedge because I wouldn't dare think about surfing the wedge. People do it. Let's see. Wedge. It's scary enough. People break their necks and collarbones all the time at the wedge. It's a it's man-made. It's not a natural phenomenon because they put the jetty there. It's coming in from really deep water, so when a south swell hits the jetty, and then it goes right up onto a shore break, right? So you get this huge jump up of two waves, a wave coming in and a wave bouncing off the jetty that from very deep water then hits very shallow water and makes a wedge. Yeah. But you love, it's so fun to go down there and actually watch it. Let's see what this one looks like. There's the side wave right there. So you see here, here's Corona del Mar over here, and here's where the boats come into Newport Harbor. So it hits, the south swell hits up against here, okay? Once it comes up, it's going to come back and make this side wave, while another wave's coming in, and it'll form this wedge. Watch this. And it's almost impossible to get out of the barrel.
$5. Oh my god.
These are actually skimboarders, I think. And that's like 6 inches, like a water.
Oh, Tyler. Oh. Oh. Yeah. There it was, Tyler. You got the cheers.
All right. And they're using foam boards too. This is so, like, you rarely ever come out of the barrel there. And this isn't even, like, super big for, I mean, it's big, but it's not the biggest I've seen a wedge.
Uh-oh, watch this. What?
Alright, let's find a big wedge. Big. Wedge surfing wipes out. That's a big one too. Oh my gosh, look at this. That's a big. There, I would never go out on something this big. Holy smokes. Alright, we gotta see that one.
Yeah, I can.
Oh. Right on the sand, man. That's the problem, is that you got thousands of pounds of pressure of water just pushing you straight into the sand.
Deep.
Goodbye.
Did you feel the same?
Body surfer. And it's just like a like how powerful that water is when it breaks. Like, it just tears every limb. It hurts. It's not like normal waves that would be that big.
Oh, did you see that guy inside that? Oh, that would be ugly.
Boss move.
Oh, I've got to send you the photo.
Oh. Oh. Oh, peace out.
Oh my gosh. So you have a dangerous too, the board hitting you. I'd take that one. That would be nice.
It does look pretty perfect though.
Like, that's pretty much what you want out of a 20-foot wave. Maybe not that. Oh.
Oh wow, that was good. That is good. Look at that guy. want to see that one really big one now. There's a side wave. Oh. Look, no wind. It's all glassy. That's incredible. That's rare to get. Is anybody gonna take off on it? This guy? Yeah. Oh man. What a nice wave. Alright, what's the other? Which one should we do? Biggest wave in the year. Let's look at this one.
Here we go.
Oh, don't even do it. I want to see this. This break here is called cylinders. It's over to the right of. We get right on the sand. That's still not as big as I wanted to. Yeah, the reels are pretty good. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, what a peak. Oh, we made it. Oh my goodness. Oh, what a peak. Can you believe that? Yeah, look at that. Those are big ones. Oh, is this going on right now? It's live? Or are they just playing a... Oh, this is going on right now. So... They have blackball, so that's why surfers can't... I forget what the time is that... Anyways, there you go. There's the wedge. Here's where I like to surf, though. Am I blanking on the name now of the street? I always like going down to Laguna. And I love that like that blue green. What? Look at Seal Beach. Are you kidding me? All the way out the oil there? What? Anger management. It's not rock pile. It's well, 1 second. It is just south of Thalia. Why am I blanking on the name? It is Brook Street. Brooks. That's where I used to surf all the time. With a longer drive, Brook Street, Laguna. Yeah, I like this place. A nice little reef break there. Oh, we gotta get better ones than that. Ain't nobody get any good. Brook Street waves. Cottons. Why is it when you put in specifically... Oh, this is Brooks right here. Oh,
Today we're leaving all responsibilities behind. We're going on a grand surf escapade. We could... Oh, I was like...
where are they at? Trying to find Brooks. Oh, here's Brooks right here.
Beach. We just looked at it. And we saw... It's pretty exciting to see. People that do breathe out here.
Oh my god.
Like, just lost.
Laguna.
Everything's collected right here.
So you gotta be careful. Laguna has the rocks.
Sand's coming back right here.
Tommy's claim.
That's Big Surf. Yeah. Look at that. That's Brooks right there. The that thing right there, the boils. I can tell. I know my Brooks right there. These boilers right here. That is great. Wait. See, it hits the reef. That's why it boils up. Look at, and you gotta get out. I've actually got wrecked and wrecked my back and broke the fins off my board. Because you got to time it when it's coming in. If a wave comes and pushes, he throws you up in the air. So right there, I broke in the board. I ain't gonna lie, man. Laguna is a pretty place.
I'm at Heisler Park. There's a full swarm of bees right here. So if you know any...
And what is she doing, dude? I feel like it's just gonna get so smashed up.
What? up.
Yeah, this is Brooks right here. I don't know where this
That's
is.
the piece of wood that was next to the lifeguard stand yesterday. Oh my gosh. It is almost completely disconnected now.
This guy Blair, he's like the best gimboarder out there right now. That's all right. You guys are probably getting bored of that. Whatever. Let's see. What you guys are doing in the chat, and then we'll head out. Wow, we got a lot. Let's see. Go big or go home, yeah. Oh, I'm a longboarder. I'll take huge 12, 14 foot waves on my 910. People just like, and it feels so crazy, like how fast. Like you go on it like such a huge. I remember I got yelled at because it looks so dangerous. At Brook Street because it's all like no longboarders surf that because the type of break, it's hard, it's a reef break, and first of all you catch the waves easier on a longboard than a shortboard, so you catch them farther out. So I was always they were getting pit. They were like, get that thing out of here. And then one guy was like, I'll bring you a shortboard tomorrow, you can use it. So some of them were nice guys, but sometimes you get in fights in the waters with the locals and stuff over issues. Yeah, it's much easier to get a barrel on a bodyboard, but it feels so good on a surfboard. I serve at Holy Ascension and Helena. It's in the town. It's the Helena area, but it's the town next next to Helena, kind of up in the mountains. Really wonderful parish. It's the Serbian. It is a mission parish of Holy Trinity in Butte. All right. Any other super chats or questions before we head out? That was kind of fun ending. Get me pumped for surfing. By the way, I do the same thing when winter comes. I'll be watching like ski videos, getting ready to ski. We're gonna have supposedly an early winter and a cold one. I'm really looking forward. Oh, I would love to try hydrofoil. They look, yeah. There was another one. You gotta see this. This is cool. It's like a $30,000 surfboard. And it's actually same dude. Let me see if I can find it. It looks so fun. This guy, like, I don't know if he was like Swiss or something. He put like a motor in this airport. It looks incredible. But there's like no way like I'd ride it, but I would never pay $30,000 for. All right, let's see if I can find. You gotta see this though. And what's really cool, they took it out on a day. It's like no wind. Like it just shows you how beautiful Southern Orange County beaches are. But you gotta see this. We'll end with this because it's such a good one. Like, if I can find it. Oh, 25,000. Oh, sorry. Why can't I hear anything? Oh.
Aesthetically, these compared to like everything else, give the shapers this.
So he puts a
and then they
motor in here.
Nice. All right, we got our work cut out for us today. A lot of stairs. This is a 50-pound backpack. Go, 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 go!
You actually have two people here. It's so heavy.
Wow.
So this is Laguna too here. How fun would this be?
Alright, wave on it.
You got the motor control on that. But there's chop here. Watch. Do you see the kind of like the coral, the seaweed, and the I always love the color of the water. Do you guys see when they take it out when there's no wind? Alright, let's see here. Alright, this is by... Where is this? There's Back Island there. That's so fun.
Out there.
Alright, this one's cool. So this is actually on the beach. That was the bay there, a little back bay or whatever. But look at this. They found like a cave to go through. How fun would this be? I know how expensive these houses are. I bet you can't get one under $4 million. No wind at all. Look at no sweat. Like it's just perfect to be on this thing. Why is it? Go through the cave again. There it is. A little cave. Yellow seaweed, is that good? Isn't that cool? Isn't that? Would you do it? Would you ride on one of those? Not for 25,000 bucks, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm gonna hang 10, 5. Well, I haven't done it for what, like, we'll see what happens when I get back to California, but usually it's not my surfing that's off, it's my upper body is just like I can't paddle. And then like you paddle so hard to get out and you're so exhausted and then you try to get away, you're like, "Oh, I can't push up to get." That is those cliffs, that's probably Corona del Mar, it looks like, which is just north of Laguna. So it goes in Orange County, it goes Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Corona del Mar, Laguna, Dana Point, San Clemente. And that's the whole, every single beach of Orange County. All right. Yeah, in California, sorry. In California, yeah. But California water's cold, even in Southern California for the most part. You know, you might get into the 70s and a warm swell in the summer, but like, and as soon as you go north of Santa Barbara, like it gets really cold. Yeah. I haven't I haven't been surf in Texas. I did go the last conference we had in Florida. Some of the parishioners from St. Nicholas, we went out surfing. It was actually a big swell because I always thought Florida was like super small. I'm like, actually these are head high. And they were like, oh yeah, it's a big swell. It was all choppy and stuff, wind blown. It took me forever to get out. Like the parishioners didn't even get out. I'm like, I'm getting out. I got like 3 or 4 waves. But same thing, it was like trying to push. I was like, ugh. And I was sore for a couple days. Gulf of Mexico, yeah, it doesn't really have waves. But surfing's hard. Like, it's one of those things that's not quite rewarding right away. I mean, you have to put a lot of. You'd have to go every day for a couple weeks before you could even learn to just kind of ride sideways on the wave. And that's what's frustrating. Like, people are just. Their first one, they're probably feeling like they're drowning. They can barely get up, and it's all whitewash, and maybe they kind of for a long time. Um, and so it takes some dedication. But I would say go out, have somebody take a lesson. That's the best. Don't try to figure it out by yourself. It's take too long. All right. God bless you guys. I'm going to just check and see if we have another super chat, and then I'll let you guys go and depart in peace. In the name of the Lord. I want to thank our donors, our tippers, our donors, our supporters. God bless you guys. You have a great weekend, great liturgy tomorrow. And till next time, God bless.